Anjali Bhardwaj is an activist who works on issues of government transparency and accountability. She joins us now from New Delhi. Thanks so much for joining us here at TRT World and for your time. Now, we've been seeing distressing videos from India's capital following the lockdown. You yourself have tweeted those videos. I mean, are we looking at the beginning of a humanitarian crisis in India?
Well, yes, the situation is very dire. We have a situation where the population is extremely large, 1.3 billion, like you mentioned, and 90%, nearly 90% of India's workforce is in the unorganized sector, which means that when there is a lockdown, very, very large percentage of the workforce loses all sources of income. Now, many people are daily wagers. They depend on their daily income to feed their families. So when there is an economic lockdown that we are seeing in the country, these people don't have large savings that they can dip into, and therefore there is an immediate crisis that they are facing. There is the crisis of food insecurity, hunger, and possible starvation. There are also problems in metropolitan cities and large cities like Delhi, etc., of homelessness increasing because these people don't have the savings to keep even paying their rents. So we are seeing a lot of people trying to get out of the cities, even by foot, because transport has been suspended and they've lost their jobs. So we are staring right now at a problem which could be humongous in nature, and potentially food riots could break out in many places, because now there is going to be great pressure on the government machinery to deliver food to people, to ensure first at least that they don't go hungry.
Right, and I mean, you work a lot with issues related to government transparency and accountability. Now, this lockdown could very well be extended for a total period of 3 months. Now, what is your assessment of the manner in which this lockdown has been planned and implemented by the government?
Well, the nature of the pandemic is such that the disease is extremely contagious. We have seen experience across the world that there is need for social distancing. In many senses, it is clear that the government didn't really have a choice but to declare a lockdown. However, the problem is that India needed very detailed planning on the social and the economic front to actually make sure that the lockdown is effective and to make sure that there isn't a human rights and a humanitarian crisis that happens when the lockdown takes place. Unfortunately, we haven't seen that happen adequately. We were not amongst the first countries to be hit by the pandemic. We believe that there was time that the government could have used before declaring the lockdown to more effectively gear up and plan for how to implement this lockdown. That does not seem to have happened at the central or at the state level in most cases. We have 29 states in the country. We have a federal structure. There are a few states which in the south of India who have responded fairly promptly. They have made sure that people are taken care of. I think that is something that should have happened in all states and at the center before the lockdown was imposed. Even if the planning was perfect, we would have had a problem. But in a situation where adequate planning does not seem to have taken place, we really are staring at a huge problem going ahead.
Right, seems like the situation is getting more and more complicated every day in India. Anjali, thanks so much for that. Anjali Bhardwaj, she's an activist live for us from New Delhi.